Welcome to Positive Filter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career with a little self-help around the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope that what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listener of the podcast. This is Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Filter. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Brother Luke Kues. Is that how you pronounce your last name, brother?
Keys.
Keys. All right. Well, keys open doors. I just make up, that's something I go. But Luke Kues, as you know, with the podcast, I meet a lot of people remotely. I connect with a lot of people, and we connected via Instagram, the Gram, and we are both members of an illustrious and well-known organization, Alpha Phi Alpha. And so I put out a Instagram question to see if I can get a panelist and their point of view of members, particularly our white members, joining an organization that has roots in African American history. And so Brother Luke here, was gracious to answer the call and be on the podcast. So give the listeners a little bit introduction of yourself and a little background about you.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to talk to you and to talk to whoever's listening today. I really appreciate the opportunity to have an impact, because just as simple as the conversation can have a great impact on a number of people, and we truly don't realize or comprehend the impact that just a conversation can have. But like you said, my name is Luke Kues. I am from Fort Thomas, Kentucky. I currently attend Northern Kentucky University, where I'm a biology and psychology double major there. I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. At NKU, I am the vice president of the Rho Gamma chapter. And at the state level, I am assistant district director of the state of Kentucky for Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And that basically means I'm in charge of all the college chapters in Kentucky. And then in regards to the NAACP, I am the unit treasurer at NKU, as well as the state treasurer on the state level. And I hold several other positions in different organizations, but we don't got to get into all that because I'll be talking for way too long.
Yeah, man, I need to cut you off. Your resume is too long. Your resume is too long for the episode. I only got like an hour. I don't want to.
I need to give my kids at the Boys and Girls Club a shout out, though. Shout out to my kids at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah. I love that. So I call this episode The White Wolf of Alpha. Okay, I mean, are you a comic book person?
Yeah.
You know what the White Wolf is referring to? White Wolf?
No.
Okay, I'm going to nerd out a little bit. In Black Panther, in Wakanda, there was a white guy who got adopted by the Wakandans. He was white, and he took on the mantle of the Black Panther. And so his little separate identity, they called him the White Wolf. And then they put it in the movie, and they changed it to Bucky, and Bucky was the White Wolf. So you're the White Wolf of Alpha. In the membership of Alpha as being Wakanda, you're the White Wolf. But going back, what was your introduction to Alpha? And additionally, was there any mentorship, like someone that was like that brought you in, that was like you looked up to, that gave you that inspiration to join or to seek membership, as they said? So
it actually happened in a very incidental way, which is something you usually don't hear. It was my freshman year at NKU, and I was eating lunch with my friend Kenila, and I was asking her about who I should contact in terms of getting involved in the NAACP. Okay. And it just so happened the vice president of the NAACP was 2 seats down from me, and he also happened to be the president of the Rho Gamma chapter of Alpha at the time. But anyway, she said, "Oh, there's James Johnson. Go talk to him." So I walked up to him and said, "Hello, my name is Luke Kues. I'm a freshman here at Northern Kentucky University, and I'm interested in getting involved in the NAACP. He said, all right. A matter of fact, we have an informational tonight at 7:06. You should come.
Yeah, 7:06. Gotcha. All right.
So I'm like, all right, this is a weird time, but I'm interested in the NAACP, so I'm a come. So I show up to the meeting, and I was like, I see Alpha Phi Alpha everywhere. I'm like, what's Alpha Phi Alpha? Like, I was here for the NAACP. Yeah. He flips on a video, and it's Alpha this, Alpha that, and then at the end of the video he goes, don't worry, we integrated in 1946. And I was like, all right, cool. So at the time, I didn't really know too much about Alpha. I'd say the two things I did realize after that meeting was it was a very prestigious organization, and it was very difficult. Not many people could actually get into the organization, and that desire to be great has always been in me, so that kind of interested me. And additionally, I had seen the gentleman on campus always wearing suits on Tuesdays.
Oh, wow.
And that's something else that caught my eye as a freshman. But I'd say what really sold me was when I went home that night, I started doing some research, and I kid you not, I remember like doing all this research, and I looked up from my laptop, and it was like 5 a.m. I had been like doing research for like 5 hours straight, and I was just like, this is dope. Like,
yes, yeah.
Like, this is who I am. Like, I've always been an alpha man. Like, these principles are exactly the same principles, and they can align almost exactly with who I am already. Like, I might as well just make it official and join the organization.
Yes.
And then it kind of went from there.
And you dropped down. I mean, you might know I say random things. I jump all over my outlines. I'll try to stay structured. But you said something about integration. So you broke a little history for the people that might not be so. You said integration in 1946. Would you like to expand upon that, good brother? And what that means to you?
Yeah. 1946 was the year that the first non-black member joined Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and that he was the first actual non-black member to join any D9 organization in 1946. And that basically, he was the person who paved the way for me to join the organization today. But he definitely did not have an easy time of it when he first joined. And I do thank him for, setting the pace, being a pioneer in a group of pioneers, if that makes sense.
I love it. And but Dr. Bernard Levin, right? Yes.
IOTA chapter.
Yeah, yes. So you dropped some gems, and you say, like, I think one of the things is a lot of planned happenstance, right? Just putting yourself in opportunities. You were seeking information about NAACP, but just the way the life is and the way life works. The guy that was in NAACP was also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, which you're doing too. You are in both organizations, and then it just kind of your values align. I love that. It speaks more to not the color of your skin, but values, right? Like manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind. And obviously, all mankind doesn't have a caveat. All mankind except, right? It doesn't say except white people or except black people or except, Asian people. And I think that's why while it has roots in African American history, it's inclusive to everyone because it literally says love for all mankind. And then the manly deeds and the scholarship, the academia part. And I love that too because as when I was in college or when I see them out in the world and I look at the famous people, it's like those are things I should want. Like I don't think members should join this organization and think that you're going to be transformed and be suddenly aligned to these aims. Like these aims should be something that already kind of vibe with you, and then you just enhance it in your you should already try to like scholarship, right? You should already be scholarly, right? You should already exhibit manly deeds. You should already exhibit love for everyone. So I think that's great that you said that. Now we're gonna go pull it back. You said I always talk to my wife. My wife is white. I'm gonna put that out there. And she always says these things like, like sometimes we go to a situation, she's like, I don't want to go to this party. People are gonna look at me when I dance, all this stuff, like an all black party, right? And I'm like, do you know how many instances where I'm the only black dude in a situation? You need to I tell her this all the time, like, get over yourself, right? Like, get over yourself because I'm the only black person in many situations. You need to just That's a you need to jest, but you need to have some empathy that there's going to be situations where you're the only white person in a room. How do you deal with that in these largely black spaces of being probably the as we say the token white person in these spaces?
It's actually an interesting conundrum, I'd say, because I would also say that for me, 99% of the time, I really don't think about it or pay attention to it. I truly, I see everybody as my brothers and sisters in the human family, first of all. So, but in the same breath, I do understand. I do want to say that again. In the same breath, I do understand that race has been created, and race is something that is not to be minimalized.
Right.
Don't get that twisted, because a lot of people hear the first part of that sentence and they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, I agree too. It's just one human family. But then they minimalize racism. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Right.
I'm saying that from my perspective, I tend to not really pay attention to that. But there is sometimes, I'm in a room full of all black people, and sometimes I'll be sitting back and be like, oh, wait, I really am the only white person in here.
Yes, yes.
And with that comes a little bit of it's almost like a black privilege at that point, because as a white person, all eyes are on you. So you have to make sure that you are always doing everything perfectly, because if you mess up or if you make a mistake, everyone will notice. If you're not presenting yourself in the correct way, everyone will notice. And also you got to realize the impact that you could have. You could be the only interaction that a black person has with a white person that's meaningful.
Yes.
So,
yes. Wow. Yeah.
So with that being said, it puts a little added pressure, but I tend to really not really feel that pressure, but I tend to just elevate myself in all settings.
Yeah, man, we share a kindred spirit. I do like this when I see you, because I do hold that responsibility. When I meet people and I'm the only black person, I'm like, yeah, this is probably someone's first interaction with a black person, so I need to carry myself in a presentable manner, or warmness, or something like that, because they're going to have an instance where I'm combating negative stereotypes. So, in my predominantly white neighborhood, right, if I walk around and I'm rude to my neighbors, they're going to think they're going to think all black people. So I carry myself to be warm and helpful and all that, because I could probably most likely think that I'm probably this person's sole interaction with someone that's not white. So I hold a sense of responsibility in that. And I heard that on the flip side for you. And that's very interesting to say that, because it's a good thing. But okay, let's say you are I say this to my wife, get over yourself. What would be some advice that you could say to maybe other white brothers of the fraternity, or just white people in general, about being the only person, white person in the room? And what are some things that you can tell them to create empathy or help them with that getting uncomfortable space for them?
I would just really say that in terms of understanding that we are all very, very more similar than we are different. So much similar that it's almost not even worth acknowledging the differences when we're just having simple interactions with each other and just enjoying each other's presence. But at the same time, like I said, you do have to recognize that there are some differences. But as far as overcoming that, I think it just comes with making those relationships. I think it's as simple as that, having those conversations. Once you start to have conversations with people of different cultures, of different races, it really breaks down those barriers, and you start to just see each other as brothers and sisters. And that's really what it comes down to, is just recognizing the human family.
I love that. Now, and I said earlier about the responsibility I hold as a black person and a white. Do you feel like there's a certain responsibility that you have as a white member to be an ally to the black community? And I definitely, I say, we do follow each other. I listen. I see you doing Woke Wednesdays. I see that you're addressing white privilege. So you're doing. I say as any ally to any other community. I would say I'm an ally to the LGBT community. The community that, what I'm saying is, being an ally to another community that you're not really a part of. What responsibilities do you have in that?
Right. So like you said, I like to explain it like this. I am not a part of the Black community as a whole, but I'm a part of a subculture within the Black community, that being Divine Nine Greek life. Mm-hmm. So although I'm not fully a member of the Black community, I can still be an ally. And using the unique aspect of being a white person in the Divine Nine, I can then use my white privilege in certain ways to uplift my brothers and sisters. It's kind of like, and think about it in terms of a race. So if I'm in a race, I'm 300 meters. All white people are 300 meters in front of all Black people, all right?
Right.
Now, as most white people do, they look forward in a race. They don't turn back. They don't look back. They don't try to think about why all those people are behind there or what discriminatory reasons that people are behind there. So as a white person, I have two things that I try to do. One, I try to turn around, run back, uplift my Black brothers and sisters, and pull them to the front of the race. So I use my white privilege to give them opportunity, to give them access, to bring them to the table. Two, I tap on the shoulder of white people, and I try to make them turn around and recognize and realize why the Black people are 300 meters behind in the race, and why it's not white people winning, it's white people have created a system to where they started the race 300 meters ahead to begin with. Mm-hmm. And it's not a matter of Black people not being able to achieve. It's a matter of Black people not having the resources to begin with. And now that there are some resources, they're running at the same pace, but simply it's just not enough because of all the discrimination that's still going on and it has gone on. So really those two things is what I try to do. I try to bring awareness to white people, and I try to uplift my Black brothers and sisters at the same time.
I love that, man. You're dropping gems, man. Like, jewels, as they say. But this is, really great. And I think that you have, from what I'm even hearing from this conversation, you have an old soul, and it seems like, you're very knowledgeable. How do you stay aware? And, I don't say I hate woke because I feel like it's overused.
It is overused.
Everyone's saying, well, like, oh, man, I eat toast. Well, that toast is burnt. You stay woke. I'm like, what? Like, how does that equate? So how do you stay aware? I like to use awareness. How do you build awareness? How do you stay informed? Besides just joining organizations, how do you stay informed about what's going on in this world and what's going on in the communities?
I try to keep it simple. There's a lot of information out there, but you got to realize that with that information, you're never going to get the full picture. Mm-hmm. So what I try to do is I try not to mistake perception for perspective, if that makes sense.
No, you gotta explain that one now. You gotta drop some more stuff on me, man.
So perception is something that you may draw a conclusion based on not fully understanding something. And so, and my perspective is what I see. Mm-hmm. So if I mistake perception for perspective, I create assumptions. So if I think that my perception of a situation is the actual perspective, is actually what happened, if I make that assumption, then it can lead to misunderstandings.
Yes, I like that. That makes sense, yeah. Like getting more information, getting different perspectives, getting the actual facts, dates, time, people, rather than just saying like feelings, like the logical part of what's going on. But then what about the news and stuff like that, and how do you stay informed with that, Are you, I'm joking because I know you're younger than me. I know one person that told me they get all their news from Twitter. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's where you get it. They look at tweets, but they follow real things. Or they read, or some people are old school and they read the real paper, they read the newspaper. How do you stay up on current events? And particularly
I try to just get a variety of perspectives because I really feel like the only way to truly get a better understanding and picture of what's going on is to get as many perspectives as possible. So one perspective that I do understand a lot easier is like, for instance, CNN. I understand their perspective a lot easier, and so I don't tend to watch CNN a lot because I already know what they're talking about. But I do tend to watch Fox a lot because it allows me to have insight into what they're programming other people to think.
Yes.
Because it's called programming for a reason, brother.
Yes.
It's called programming for a reason because it programs you how to think.
Yeah,
that's all the news does.
And it's agendas. I totally get that. So, what'd your family think? I'm very curious to think about what your family think. And are you the only person in a D9 in your family?
Yes, I'm the only person D9 in my family. I'm the only person Greek in my family, matter of fact. I don't even have no Panalytic ISC, none of that.
Okay.
I would say the first person I told was my sister.
Okay.
And my sister was she was attending Louisville, University of Louisville at the time. She had some friends of hers who were members of Alpha Phi Alpha. And she definitely knew what was up, and she was very excited for me, and she definitely was proud of me and realized the importance of this and how great the organization was. And then the next person who I told was my mother. And I had to tell her because she was getting concerned because I wasn't around as much.
Yeah.
And I wasn't talking to her lately. So I talked to her and told her what was up.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, like, that sounds awesome. Like, I told her a little bit. She's like, I really don't know a whole lot about it, but that sounds awesome. Like, Martin Luther King Jr., third grade martial, all that. And honestly, Alpha speaks for itself. And the second she did her research, the second she went online, the next day, like, she called me up. She's like, Luke, this is an awesome organization. I am so proud of you. Like, I'm so happy for you. Like, this is, I couldn't think of a better organization than this. And that just speaks to the on paper what Alpha looks like to other people.
Yes,
it truly does look like one of the best. Well, it is the best organization of all time. to other people, that image is aligning because they recognize that just by doing a Google search.
Well, I joke with you, but like I said, when I had to tell my family, I mean, I crossed in graduate chapter, so I'm a grown man with kids, and so obviously my wife knew everything, but I had to tell my mother-in-law because I had to study, know info, and so I say I joke with my line brothers. I say my mother-in-law is like my assistant dean because I would spit out info to help me study, whatnot, and she's just like your mother. She's like, very good. This is wonderful. Like, but just like that too. Like, very good. Oh my gosh. Like, how do you remember all that information? And I was like, this is hilarious. Like, and so she was very supportive. And I think, like, right as you said, the organization in a whole speaks for itself across races. When they see the famous alumni. Like, another side note is that I was born, I'm a military brat, and I had a nanny. My dad's military and all that. I was living in Germany. I had a nanny that's from England, and she was the biggest Prince fan. But guess who her second favorite artist is of all time? Just take a random guess. And he's Alpha, but take a guess of all Alphas. Light skin Commodores.
Okay, Brother Ellington, Duke Ellington.
Yep, Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie, okay.
Yeah, so she was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yo. I was like, Jeannie, I'm in the same organization as Lionel Richie. And she just flipped out. She's like, oh my God. And so I got the new Sphinx magazine, and I mailed it to her, and she was like, so I'm just saying, like, the alumni, the people, like, as you said, is a cross race. She was so impressed. She's like, you're in the same organization as Lionel Richie? I was like, of all people, you were so impressed. I can say Martin Luther King and all this. You were so impressed by Lionel Richie. I was like, okay, I'll take it. So, like, I think that it's cool to share that, and obviously it's really cool that you have the support. Now, I mean, we talked about a positive aspect, support, but we there's not always support. So what was some, I guess, name calling, haters, naysayers? What was some obstacles like that you faced when you became a part of this organization?
I'd say I did face some obstacles, especially from more so the white community than the black community.
Oh wow, okay.
I felt pretty accepted by the black community, and I think that's just a result of I've pretty much always been a member of the black community for pretty much, high school, college, like nothing's really changed in that regard. So I felt pretty comfortable already with the black community. I mean, obviously some people that came into the black community after I had already crossed had some questions like, you know, why would you as a white person join a black organization, XYZ, stuff like that. But no hate, nothing like that for the most part, mostly just inquiry. And I'd say from the white community, though, there are some people that are disapproving and don't like it and are hating in that regard just because I don't think they fully understand it. And I don't know.
So without giving names, obviously we're keeping it positive, but what would be something, an ignorant statement that you've had to address that you heard and you know, say, like, let's nip that in the bud, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying, like that? Like, oh, you trying to be white? I mean, did someone say along the lines like, oh, you trying to be black? Something like that?
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely been a common thing. And I simply just say that talk to any of my line brothers and they can tell you how white I really am. No, I do white stuff all the time. Like, listen, like,
yeah.
I definitely have a lot of white tendencies. But, no. I mean, I just simply try to articulate the fact that I do recognize my whiteness and that the organization is not exclusive to black members only. Yeah. And also I try to just explain to them, like, as to why I joined the organization, kind of like what I was talking about a little bit earlier. And at the end of the day, I go back to the human family aspect.
I love that. The mankind part. Yeah, why Alpha? You know, just why Alpha? And besides, okay, let me rephrase this, because now you already explained the planned happenstance. But now that you're in, because, you know, like you said, like, what if the guy that was interested in NAACP was a Kappa or something like that? You know, that's just how life happens. But now that you're in it, and we're not going to reflect on that, why Alpha now? If you were, let's say you were trying to sell it on, let me rephrase, because we don't need to sell anything. People should want to come to us. You know, they said you don't need to recruit for Alpha. Alpha recruits for itself, right?
So this is definitely something that I could talk for days about. Like, we could have a whole podcast about why Alpha, because Alpha it's so distinct in so many different ways. It's so unique in so many different ways. It's so unlike any other organizations in so many different ways. And I look back to 1905. And in 1905, it was simply brothers desirous of maintaining more intimate contacts with one another than their classroom studies permitted. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is very powerful, because that was the desire that started the fraternity. And with that was the first time that brothers came together to create a fraternity. And this is a time where that was barely possible to happen. Yeah. And with that, the organization has created a structure from 1905, 1906, has created a structure that has been the leading organization throughout history. You look at all the first Alphas have accomplished. You look at all of the prestigious things that Alphas have done. We've been pushing the envelope to move society forward, to move social justice forward since 1906, and we have been in the lead, and there is no one around us. Hey. We are number one, and there is no one around us. There is no close second. There is no. We are the leaders. We are the pioneers, and I see myself as a leader. I see myself as someone who is catalyzing social change. I see myself as a person who's going to change the world. And I said this to several people, and they call me crazy, but I truly believe that I'm going to be greater and have a greater impact than Martin Luther King Jr. People be like, yo, you're crazy. Be like, Martin Luther King Jr. would want me to do that. He elevated Alpha. He elevated the people in his time so that somebody else could stand on his shoulders. And that's what it's all about. Being pioneers and being men of Alpha, we stand on the Alphas that came before us because they wanted us to. Right. Because they uplifted the culture, they uplifted the people, and they're holding them up. But they don't want us to just get to their level. They want us to elevate above them.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, that's true. If you're really a mentor and you're a teacher, right, at some point you want your students to surpass you. I mean, that's just what it is, right? Like, you watch all those karate movies and stuff, eventually you want the student to become the karate master. And then, but the thing is, you want that person to pay it forward. So one of the things I agree with that is that, I don't think you're crazy to have great ambitions, because two, with what you said is maybe you have more access to resources than Martin Luther King, so you should be responsible enough to do more, to use a bigger voice. Along the lines of audience, right? You have a bigger audience than Martin Luther King. I'm saying because of your voice, but like, look at the social media platform. That now that we have avenues and tools where we can reach a larger audience than Martin Luther King, simply because of numbers and audience, right? And as you said earlier, it's like, it's nothing wrong with saying that, because you're not putting no disrespect or no shade to someone before you. You're saying, thank you for the opportunities and doors that you open for me. With these opportunities and doors, I'm going to surpass that or make it. So I don't think you're crazy. I mean, maybe your pitch might be like, hey, but it's not the maybe it's the message and not the messenger. I don't know, but at the same time, I do see what you're saying. Like, we had this opportunity. We had members and people before us that definitely gave us opportunities that we didn't have. And now that we have those opportunities, we are actually responsible to them to make sure that we live up to those expectations. So you better do something. If you're not going to do it, then I'm going to call you out. You literally stamped it on a podcast. You're accountable to make things happen.
Definitely.
I'm going to keep an eye out and see what you do, because I think that's saying I do agree with you that we with voices and platforms and resources, we should definitely be doing more than our forefathers or people ahead of us. That's why, like, in general, like when you have a kid, I have 2 kids. I want my kids to be better than me. I want my kids to do everything 10 times better than me. They play a sport, I want them to play a sport better than me. They do academics, I want them to do academics better than me. Or whatever their talent is, obviously find their niche. But I want whatever their niche is, I want that niche to be better than me, because I want to be able to provide a door or an access that I didn't have. You know what I'm saying? So, they got me fired up too. Damn, you got me fired up. You was a good motivational speaker. All right, so you're doing a lot of things. Maybe in regards to this episode, let's tie in 2 things. How do you combine your juggling NAACP with Alpha, and how do you mold those or melt those 2 organizations together, or balance those 2 organizations? I've seen on your Instagram you got different conferences and things. It seems like a very busy, heavy load. How do you do that and also maintain your academics?
For me, it really came down to being able to find my peace personally.
Okay.
So at a certain point, I'd say it was kind of overwhelming, but I was able to really find my peace and be able to take in and internalize all the external stuff going on around me. And what I really try to do with that is I try to just stay true to what my core beliefs are. One thing that I literally look in the mirror and I tell myself every morning is that God loves me, I love myself, and the best way for me to show God that I love him is by loving the people around me. So
I like that mantra. I like that.
So I carry that into all the organizations that I'm involved in. It's really just a matter of loving people and trying to uplift people and trying to just better the organizations, better it for people that are coming after me, but also better it for the people in the community. And that's my first focus, is I really just try to focus on the NKU community first, because I recognize that if I can have the impact on NKU's community that I want to, then I can translate that to other communities around the world. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we're part of the human family, and it's just it just comes back down to love.
I love that. All right, so what are some future goals? Maybe let's not talk like 5 years down the line. Let's say, you got grad. What year are you? You're a junior, senior?
Yeah, junior.
Okay, what's some just college goals you got for yourself? Maybe that's within the junior and senior year. Let's not think about your career goals, and let's just talk about what's in front of your face. What's in front of your face? What's some immediate goals that you have for yourself?
So let's see. Currently, I am working on an SGA resolution that I'm going to be reading off for the first reading in 2 weeks. And with that, so my line brother, Deshaun King, he came to me about a year and a half ago after going to NKU's counseling services, and I asked him how the counseling session went. He said, man, I just wasted $15 on trying to explain to this white lady about my blackness for an hour, and then she told me that I could only come back 13 more times because they have a counseling limit. So I said, that's not cool. Like, I'm not with that. Something's got to go. Something's got to give. So I had organized and been talking to people for a while now, and I finally had the resolution to the point to where it's ready to go for the Student Government Association to pass. And basically the two main points of this resolution is, one, providing a counselor of color, and two, removing the counseling limit by outsourcing, if necessary, for the same rate as NKU provides, the $15 an hour.
Wow.
Additionally, that's what the resolution is mainly covering. But in addition to that, I don't want to just attack the legality side of it. I don't want to just change the policy. I also want to try to make social change with that. So next week, I'm having an open mic about breaking the stigma around mental health, to talk about mental health and to bring awareness to it. And in addition to that, I am creating and filing for a fund. And this fund will be supported by an annual gala, which will raise money for free counseling at NKU. So any students that can't afford counseling can just have the fund support their counseling sessions so that they have no excuses as to why they're not able to receive counseling.
I love that. I mean, it's free at Nathan. It's free. It's free at our university, student counseling. But unfortunately, with workload and scalability, they have a limit on sessions. But on the flip side, it is free, and I think there is value in providing free service to students. And then I don't think we have a lot of people of color on our staff, so I do agree that is important. That's an important not a stigma, but an important aspect, a factor that needs to be provided is like ensure that people of color and races, like another man that talk to another man, or a person of color talk to another person of color, it does make a difference in regards to that mental health. Build rapport, and also just feel like they can understand a separate layer that might not be necessarily said. So that's a good initiative. So I don't know how long we are because I can't see the little timer, but in regards to this we're kind of wrapping up the episode. This is the part I don't know if you listened to the episode before. I'm gonna hit you with this. We call it shot for shot, meaning you get to ask me any random question, not even related to this episode, and I get to ask you any random question, not really related to this episode. So you want to go first? I'll go first. It don't matter. But I got random question. So you go first. I go first.
What's the last book that you've read?
Well, the last book, I will say I'm trash bags in finishing a book, but I'm currently reading, and I'm going to finish. I have to say that, so I'm saying this out to the episode. I'm reading The Alchemist. That's the book I'm reading right now. I'm currently on it. It's a quick read, but the way my life is set up, it takes me forever. But I want to finish it. I set a goal. I set a professional, personal goal of reading at least 6 to 12 books this year, and I'm only still on number 1. I got a lot of catch up to do over the summer, but right now I'm reading The Alchemist, and I think it's dope. I love it. About one person's journey, and it's supposed to be like just some. I see many layers. It relates to life, but it reads like a nice story. So if you haven't read it, I can't remember the name of the author right now, but The Alchemist, that's what I'm reading. Okay, I got my question. I've been thinking about it now, and then I got it. So you are in Kentucky, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so mine is a 2-layer question. All right, so Kentucky, right? There's really no choice. Are you a Louisville basketball fan, or are you a University of Kentucky basketball fan?
Hey, L1C4, baby, all the way.
Which one? Okay, which one? Was it Louisville? All right. Okay, that was easy. Why? You said that joke quick.
So I got family in Louisville, and I've always been a Louisville fan. My brother Nick and sister Maria went to Louisville. Okay. And actually, when I was 9, I tore my ACL, and Brian Brom tore his ACL too. And he actually came to my surgery and gave me a football. That was Louisville's quarterback at the time. He went on to play for the Raiders. But
wow.
I've been a fan ever since.
That's the dopest story. See, look at that. All right, and this is
Yeah.
my second one because I love Kentucky. I'm a member on Facebook. I don't, we just became Facebook friends, but I'm a member of Northern Virginia Bourbon Society. It's very esteemed. It's very esteemed. Not really because I joined it with my friends, but I love whiskey. I absolutely. I've been to Kentucky once. I gotta make a real. I'm gonna do the Bourbon Trail. You're 21, right? Before I ask this
Yes,
question.
sir.
Okay, you're
Yes,
21. All
sir.
right, so good. I'm gonna ask you a drinking question. What you like bourbon?
Yeah, I like bourbon.
Okay, what's your favorite? And educate us non-Kentuckians about that, and maybe if your family, likes bourbon and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to talk to my brother Nick about this question. He loves his bourbon. At the end of the day, if I have a bourbon question or if I need to figure out what I need to buy as far as bourbon, I use my resources. I tap into my brother and I call him up. But can't call him up right now for a phone a friend. So
Okay.
I got nothing for you.
Nothing for me. All right, thank you so much. Now, this is the opportunity of the episode. We're wrapping up, and I think definitely we're gonna meet. Are you going to General Convention?
Yeah, I'll be there in Las Vegas.
Yes, I will see you there because I will be there.
Okay.
I put it on my Google Calendar. My wife knows I'm going. I had to put that out way in advance.
As long as your wife knows you're going.
Yes, I'm a delegate, so I have to represent my chapter. I'm there. It's already set in stone, so we'll link up and meet. But with that being said, this is your opportunity. I give everyone an opportunity on the show to do their shout-outs, their plugs, their social media, things they're working on. The platform is yours. The stage is yours. Say whatever you want. But whatever you want, make sure that you put it in the show notes that we're sharing so that I can share that so that the listeners can click on the links and stuff. So plugs, social media, all that. Go ahead. Platform's yours.
All right. So first of all, I just want to let everybody know that, again, I am Luke Thomas Kues, and I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram mostly. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can go ahead and do that. It's Keys to the City. That's my last name, Kues, 2 City. So feel free to follow me there. In regards to shout-outs, shout out to the Distinguished and Dapper Rho Gamma chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Also shout out to Unit 3853 of the NAACP. Like I said earlier, shout out to my kids at the Boys and Girls Club. Keep being great. Jumanji, keep on hitting the bags. And I really just want to send my major message is love and truth. And that is really what I ground myself in, is love and truth. And with that, I just want to leave you guys with this message, that when you are loving, it allows people to hear your truth. When you are speaking the truth, you are loving people. Every person you make eye contact with is an opportunity to love. Every person who is impacted by your truth is an opportunity to uplift. To be is the opportunity, and you can't be who you can't see. To see the vision of your future in your life today is to say love and truth are the way. It is with humility that we find the greatest truth. And humility is realizing that what is right is more important than if you're right. Knowledge mistaken for understanding results in arrogance. Speak about what you know and teach what you understand. Perception mistaken for perspective creates assumptions. Unity is uniting all perspectives in order to eliminate assumptions. Listen to me, please. L.T. Kues. Thank y'all.
Thank you. I love that. That was a poem. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the episode. It's really a joy. I really appreciate you answering the call to be on this. And now that we met each other remotely or whatever, electronically, we will link up in person.
Definitely.
Give each other a big hug. I really appreciate you, and thank you so much, and have a good day.
All right. Have a good day, brother. Much love.
Thank you for listening to Positive Filter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends. And like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity of Movement. Thanks for listening.